YouTube? Creeposaur here, and today we're going to be doing a video on the new PSYframe archetype that's coming out in, what? Booster, or TCG only? High-Speed Riders. So, I didn't know that this was called, so I had to read it, and obviously if you're watching my videos, you know that often I jumble my words because I speak so quickly. Anyway, let's scroll down here. Let's just jump right into reviewing these guys. They're pretty ridiculous from what I read so far. I've only read a couple of them, and I already know that they're ridiculous. I've seen, not seen what they can do, but from reading I can already see what they can do and how ridiculous this deck will be. I predict that it will either be Tier 2 or most likely Tier 1 because this deck is so fast-paced and the effects of each of the monsters. I can see in the sneak peek, if they're doing a sneak peek up here, they most likely will do a sneak peek for it anyway, like they do with most sets. That these cards, if anybody pulls them, they're most likely either going to be, knowing this deck, it might be rares, or they're all going to come out like as ultras or supers, and like I can see the synchros coming out as secrets. So let's just jump right into PSYframe Gear Alpha, and then we're going to talk about the other guy that they really work off afterwards. So the first one is PSYframe Gear Alpha. Pretty much how all the PSYframes work, or how they're based off of, is that they're like the evolution of the Vylons. As you can tell, they look very Vylon-like, just they evolved or some sort. They don't play like the Vylons, they play more like the G-Nex deck. I haven't seen that deck before, because I never really paid attention enough and never really looked into it. Maybe I'll look into it at a later date and do a deck profile on it. I don't know just yet. I've been doing a lot more planning, a lot more work on my videos. I've been putting a lot more time into them. And especially with school, it's becoming a little bit more difficult to do so. So that's why you saw on Wednesday. No, I posted on Wednesday. I think. I don't know. Sometimes I lose track because I have so many things happening right now. So, PSYframe Gear Alpha, his effect is, cannot be normal summoned / set, must be special summoned by a card effect, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. When your opponent normal or special summons a monsters, while you control no monsters except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand and one PSYframe driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And if you do, add one PSYframe card from your deck to your hand, except PSYframe Gear Alpha during the end phase. Banish any monsters special summon this way. And as you can see, this guy is a tuner, so when we get to PSYframe driver, you will see why this can be very ridiculous. But the effect is ridiculous itself, that you can special summon when your opponent normal or special summons when this card is in your hand. Also, this card allows you to get a free PSYframe monster or PSYframe card, or whatever you need. I don't think there are any spell cards or trap cards out just yet, but if this deck is more monster-based and less on the trap cards, we'll have to see. But you can get a trap card that you need, or a spell card that you need for later, or you can get that monster you need for later to stop your opponent from doing things. And all this crazy stuff I can see happening to this deck. I can see it just doesn't want your opponent to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that can be pretty frustrating, but that also means that the player who is playing the deck can have a whole bunch of fun going into all of his combos, because nothing can really stop him. So that's PSYframe Gear Alpha. He looks pretty ridiculous so far, and let's just jump right into the next guys. Let's go back and into Beta. So as you can see, again, very Vylon looking, and I like the art. Kind of has like a motherboard looking image in the background, and it's this weird Vylon looking creature that has morphed into something else, and electricity everywhere, and I like it. It's a little obscure, but you know, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami can do whatever they want pretty much at this point. Sometimes they'll screw us over, or sometimes give us something really, really cool. So, Beta, what he can do is cannot be normal summoned / set, must be special summoned by a card effect, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. So that seems like a trend for all of the PSYframe monsters. I think for every single one they do that. So that's their trait, because they can be very ridiculous, because they have an effect that says, oh, if your opponent does something, you get a free PSYframe. And then on top of that, once you get PSYframe driver, you get a free other monster or card in your hand. So it seems like it's very fast-paced. It seems like you're always going to have a hand in this deck, and it can be very, very strong from what I'm seeing right here. Let me just have a drink of water here. Alright, so you can special summon this card. Okay, when your opponent's monster declares an attack while you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and one PSYframe driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So it seems as if this PSYframe driver, even when you do sync with him, you will have the access from him in the graveyard or your hand. So even if you drew into him and he's not in the deck, use the one from your hand, which would be the smarter move, so you don't use all the ones in your deck first. So go for the one in your hand and then do all your stuff. And then even when they're all in the grave, they're not dead. They're still alive and you can keep going into them. So that seems very useful. And if you do destroy the attacking monster, then end the battle phase. So if that's your opponent's only monster, their board is empty and then you have your setup for next turn. And there goes my garage. Hopefully you guys don't hear that, or I'll try and lower the volume, whatever. And end the battle phase. So they're automatically no battle phase, kind of like a battle fader, but stronger and archetype specific. And also they're forced to go into their main phase too, which is obvious, but then they just lost their battle phase when they could have been setting up like an effect that allows them to do X, Y, and Z, and now they can't do that. So that could possibly hinder your opponent for a turn or two, and then you can go into whatever you need to do. And then again, with this deck, it does look like it doesn't want your opponent to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, so that can be kind of frustrating for them. And then they can just see, oh, this is a loss. And then again, as all the PSYframes, I've seen Alpha and Beta. I've read the other ones, so a little bit, not all of them, because again, I needed time to manage homework and all these things to record the video. So during the end phase, banish any monsters summoned this way. So that seems like a trait for all of the PSYframes, along with the no normal / set. And it can only be special summon card effects. And then they have their little specific thing in between those little effects. So let's go right into Gamma. Gamma looks pretty cool. It looks, oh, that's definitely Catastor. That's Catastor all up in there. Let's see what he can do. He's also a tuner, so it looks like they're all tuners. But this one's level 2. What was Beta? Was that level 1? I think that was level 1. Yep, that was level 1. So Alpha and Beta are level 1, and Gamma is level 2. So let's see what he can do. Cannot be normal summon / set, blah blah blah, special summon by card effects, all that stuff that all the other PSYframes already had. During either player's turn, when an opponent's monster effect is activated while you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and one PSYframe driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do destroy that, destroy it. During the end phase, banish any monster summon this way. So again, this card can negate the activation of a card and then destroy it, so that seems very, very strong. That can stop, is it only monsters? While you control, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, while you control no monster, so when opponent's monster effect is activated. So it's only monster effect, but then again, you can negate it and destroy it, and your opponent will have an empty board except for back row. Hopefully the synchros have an effect where they can't activate traps or something like that, because that seems like the trend here. This deck seems like it's very fast-paced and wants your opponent to not have the option to do anything when you're going for big pushes. And even when you're not going for big pushes, you're waiting for your opponent to do something so that you can go for your big pushes. And then again, during the end phase, banishing the monster special summon this way. But anyway, these guys aren't going to be on the field, so you're automatically going to be sinking when you do this. Alrighty, so we can go into Delta, which looks really weird. It looks like a hand card, like Fire Hand and Ice Hand, kind of weird looking. Anyway, this again is level 2, so I think the next set are going to be level 3 or something like that. So again, this is Tuner and Light. They're all light, and this is oh, they're all quick. Never mind. Cannot be normal summon / set. Again, all that stuff that we've already read. During either player's turn, when an opponent's monster spell card is activated while you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and one PSYframe driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So this one is to negate spell cards and whatnot. So you can. These are quick effects, so that this will go off after your opponent does your thing and whatnot. So it's very, very good. So it also gets destroyed, so even if it's supposed to be a continuous or a field spell, it will get destroyed, and you won't have to worry about it unless it's one of those that they get another one for free. Kind of like the, what is it, the Kaiju one? No, it's the Cosmo one, so you get another one for free, so that one's never dead. During the end phase, banishing the monsters, so that's this way. So again, you're going to be automatically sinking when you do this, so they're not going to be on the field unless something happens and you run out of the extra deck monsters, but they're obviously going to be coming out with a whole bunch of extra deck monsters when this deck does come out, because this deck looks like it can sink a whole bunch. Alrighty, that's pretty ridiculous. I'm just starting to read more and more into this. Well, the effects are all kind of similar, but this deck is starting to make me realize how ridiculous it's going to be and how ridiculous the format's going to be when this deck is out. And then Epsilon, which has to be my favorite art for this deck. It's ridiculous looking. It's like Catastor mixed with a jet. It's awesome looking. You can't not say it's awesome looking, because look at that thing. It might be a little obscure for an art, and it might look a little weird like it's not doing anything, but come on. These guys look awesome. Like, what, Beta didn't look all that cool, but this guy looks amazing. So this one is Tuner, level 2 light, like all the other ones, and again, cannot be normal summons on set and all that stuff. And then it's during either player's turn, so during either player's turn when an opponent's trap card is activated. So that's very, very good. So it's not like, if your opponent activates for Delta, if your opponent activates a spell card on either player's turn, my bad. You saw my desktop. I think, hopefully not. Delta. It's during either player's turn for all the other ones, right? Skip this ad. No. I'm going all over the place. Sorry, guys. Yeah, they're all during either player's turn. So even if they did activate a spell card on your turn that is a quick play, it would be stopped. I overlooked that fact. Sorry. When an opponent's monsters, opponent's trap card is activated while you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and one PSYframe driver from your hand. Deck or graveyard, so like the same for all the other ones, just this is trap card. And again, destroy it, and during the end phase, banishing a monster special summon this way. So that's the trend, and the last two I know are the synchros, because these are the lords, and the other ones are supposed to be the ones that get you into these guys. And then I'll go into the very last one, which is the driver that you've been hearing so much about that I am taking forever to get to. So let's get right into that. So we have PSYframe Lord Zeta, and he looks awesome. It's like the Jet one's head thing is on a samurai, and now he has armor, I don't know, but he looks awesome. So let's read him. He needs one tuner and one more non-tuner monsters. He is level 7, so he is the generic one that you're going to be going for with Beta and Alpha with Driver, because those are level 1, and Driver is level 6. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one face-up attack position, special summon monster your opponent controls. Banish both it and this card until the next standby phase. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other PSYframe in your graveyard. PSYframe card in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, add it to your hand. So, wow, that's ridiculous. Sorry, I was just paying attention. Someone came through the door and said something. Once per turn. So once per turn, that's pretty good. Again, the other ones are during either player's turn, so I would have to suspect that these were going to be once per turn, because I haven't read these myself just yet. So it has to be special summoned, so you can't target anything that isn't special summoned or normal. You know what I mean? It can only be special summoned, as the card says. Face-up attack position, so it's very 101-esque right now. It can only be targeting special summoned monsters. Banish both it and this card until the next standby phase, so you're going to have an empty board once you do that, so you can sync for another one for something else later, so that while you have your empty board, you can already have your plays set up for later, which is very, very good. I need water. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other PSYframe card in your graveyard, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, add it to your hand. So once this comes back, you get a free monster to set up, so you'll have an empty board anyway. So this deck seems like it's always going to be having plays, and I don't know when this deck does come out. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to come out all at once like how it did with the Secret Forces, how the Necroz came out all at once, pretty much. Except for the other Ritual and the Rare. But that's besides the point, how it all came out at once. But I don't think that's how it's going to work. I'm pretty sure you're going to have to throw some text in here left and right to make this deck work a little bit more efficiently, because I think there's only about 6 monsters so far for it, and no, seven monsters, and then the extra deck monsters. So again, there's no spell or trap card out for it yet, so we'll just have to see what Konami has in store for us. And then Omega, which looks ridiculous. I love all the art. I love every single art for this deck so far, so it's a big part of why I play some decks are just because of the art. So when I see really good art, that really triggers me to I want to play this deck, or I want to just see what it does, or whatever. So this is level 8, so this is one that you're going to be going for with, I think, all the rest of them, because all the other ones are level 2. So this seems like the big guy that you're going to be going for a lot. So this is, again, one tuner and one more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn during either player's main phase. So that's pretty good. So you can only do it once per turn, but since you're able to do it on either player's main phase, that seems pretty relevant and pretty strong. You can banish both this face-up card on the field and one random card in your opponent's hand until the next standby phase. During your opponent's standby phase, you can target one banished card, return it to the graveyard. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other card in your graveyard, shuffle both that card and this card into the deck. So, seeing so far, this deck can be very, very. It's not that it can be. It's going to be a very strong deck in the next coming format when this does come out, and I frankly don't really care, as you guys saw from my meta review, what comes out and if it is overpowered. I just want metas not to last so long. I just want metas to be about how long the Ghost Trick format was, or the hand format was. Like, formats moving very quickly, things moving in and out. I just want to see variety, not the same thing over and over again. Because I don't want to go online and just see, Necroz, or I just don't want to see, Shadal. I don't want to see just the same deck all over the place being played by pretty much the same exact people, or being played by the people going to big tournaments, because it's very boring. And when you go to locals, they don't do it at my locals anymore, because they changed the prize support. Just people just playing top tier decks just so that they can get free wins, and it's kind of annoying. But now in my locals, Rogue is pretty much taken over there because of the change in prize support. So that is pretty much the entire PSYframe deck, except for PSYframe Driver. He doesn't have an effect because he is a vanilla, which I think is kind of cool for this deck, that they are making a vanilla as a very big part of the deck, and I like his art a lot. We haven't seen something psychic this strong in a long time. Or Cosmo Psychic? I don't know. But yeah, that's really, really cool. It seems very Psychic-esque, and I really like the art for this guy. He has 2,500 attack and 0 defense. I didn't read the attack and defense for all the other ones because they did have very long effects, even though some of them, they all had pretty much the same beginning and end effect, but I wanted to get into more of the review of the card instead of the attack and defense. But yeah, this guy is just cool. Vanilla, level 6, light. And I just think it's a cool thing that they're making a normal monster a very, very, very big part of the deck. And it doesn't have to have an effect to make this deck strong. It's just showing you that normal monsters are still relevant, or they're trying to make them seem relevant again. And I kind of like that. So, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I would really like to hear what you guys think. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button as hard as you can, and subscribe to my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! And gaming videos. And as always, hope you enjoyed.